Yeah, they were full value for that. Arsenal played their part in what was a good game to watch. That's the best and most convincing performance I've seen from any team so far, Owen, that Liverpool performance last night.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they are the best. You know, you think about the way they played against Chelsea. They dominated that, you know, in terms of possession, in terms of shots and chances, and winning the game quite comfortably. And I thought, again, we're talking about Arsenal and Arteta. They're a possession-based side. Liverpool dominated possession again. So this Liverpool team seems to be growing in confidence, getting more and more dominant, even against some of the best teams in this division. You think about Arsenal and Chelsea. Liverpool are just too good for everyone right now.
Yeah. We've got some clips here of the variation now in the Liverpool game. Look, we've seen them going back to front a lot since Jurgen Klopp's been at the club. And why wouldn't he, with Salah and Mane and the pace, outstanding pace that they have. But there's so many more ways developing, Owen, where they're now able to pick you off.
Yeah, I think the one thing we should highlight is the fact that just spacing is one of the most important things in the game of football. In terms of the way Pep and Klopp play, they want to get the spacing right. So if you look at Mane there, and that Salah, Firmino drops in, yeah? So they have this little shape where they stay high and wide. He can drop in. That's Robertson, that's Trent. And that's your midfield three. So basically, they're just looking for what is the best option, because they know all the options. So depending on what Arsenal give them, they'll play the pass.
What's the best vehicle to get the ball out?
What is it? And right now, it looks like it could be Van Dijk, but the players have to decide, don't they? They have to decide where the ball's going to go. And depending on what Arsenal do, watch this there. Robertson already knows, doesn't he? He's on his way. But watch how that affects Mane.
Yeah.
And this is all the players. This is not Klopp deciding. You know, they get the setup right, and bang, that easy, Andy. You know, and that's why I love the fact, great coach in terms of Jurgen Klopp, sets the players up, lets them play, but ultimately the players make the decision where they're going to pass the ball on the pitch. And you're right, there's so much variation to their game.
Yeah, again, Firmino then picking the ball up, and just a simple bit of movement, and they've got themselves in between Arsenal's midfield and that back three. And so they've got themselves absolutely a 3-on-3 situation, which is entirely where they want to be.
Yeah, they're just so precise. They're so good in possession. And when we get into these areas, we know they love to flood the box. So yeah. I love the fact that they can mix it up depending on what the opposition do.
This one, you mentioned about they played short there and there's some good movement. Then all of a sudden, this guy can start dictating from here, because lots of teams are able to hit 60 and 70-yard balls. City do it with the goalkeeper, don't they?
Yeah.
City do it with Ederson.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, so you've just seen a couple of short passes, and then if they feel the heat from the Arsenal players, how about that from Van Dijk? And again, you've got yourself in that scenario. You're now behind Arsenal's central midfield players, and you've effectively got, I mean, if I run that on a little bit, you're now 4-on-3 almost.
Well, and we ultimately, everybody presses, but that beats the press instantly, doesn't it? One fabulous ball. And that's why I know Van Dijk's the best defender in the world, but he's one of the best passers of the ball as well as a defender. So get it up to your top players and let them affect the game. But they're so good at finding what it needs in certain moments.
This was second half again. Most centre halves, Owen, in this scenario are just happy to just lay a little ball here, Van Dijk to Gomez, and then maybe come out here to Trent. But again, Virgil van Dijk, his passing last night was just pretty incredible. Look, that's inch perfect. And then that guy can do that. He can hit that first time. You know, they're so good. And I'm noticing and seeing a different sort of Liverpool emerging here as well, where they've now got the confidence to mix their game up like that.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think everybody expects Liverpool to play and get it down and play. We're seeing a lot more of these switches and playing a bit more vertical at times. And I think that's credit to Jurgen Klopp. He's seen what teams are doing to them, and he say, right, okay, you want to compress us? We can play over the top real quick.
The press has been a fundamental part of what Klopp's been about ever since he's arrived at the club, and nothing has changed in that respect. It's kind of all or nothing, Owen, isn't it? They're prepared to go absolutely like a full court press in basketball, you know, where everyone's man for man almost all over the field. Got a nice example of that here. Arsenal, to their credit, wanting to play out, and as soon as that ball is played by Leno, they're off and they're coming after you.
Yeah, and I think as a player, when you get the sense that the press works, all the players buy in instantly, because everybody, you hunt in packs, and they make it so hard. There's no time on the ball. In the end, you just clear your lines, and that is much better. You're better off doing that than playing a bad ball into midfield where if they get it there, it leads to a goal
you could
straight
be in
away.
trouble. Well, they actually do that in this next clip, Owen. There's one more where, again, just there, this is the press we're talking about. How Liverpool now, look, the ball's in open play. They're really going for Arsenal, trying to play their way out. Short pass there, and they're on top here.
That is class. It really is. Every player's running forward. Every player's getting after someone. Intensity of the press is what makes it so good. You think about United, the way they played against Brighton. The only person that pressed from the front six was Bruno. The rest of them are just kind of the passengers. Klopp demands that the players, when they turn it over like Robertson did there, they're just on the front foot. Try and win it back as quick as you can, because when you win it here, then basically it's only, 30 yards to the goal rather than being sat back all the way down here.
If you don't do that in a Jurgen Klopp team, you wouldn't play, would you?
Go play somewhere else. Yeah, no, it doesn't. You won't accept it. At Dortmund, they were the exact same. They went after. I think they ran about a kilometre more per game than every other player. So his players ran a kilometre more because he demands that the players work. That's why they're champions, by the way. They're a great team. They got great players, but they work harder than pretty much every team, and that's why they're so good. Yeah,
let's have a look at their goals last night. There's some good ones in there, of course. And Arsenal, of course, scored. He'd been on the field about 2 or 3 minutes. He actually there was a ball bouncing in the box. He was just about to hit it, and Salah come and took it off of him. You know, almost like, listen, if you want to get in the queue, you're playing for the champions now. You know, in terms of scoring goals.
It's still Mo's team, isn't it? But I love the fact that they didn't sign a ton of players. But think about Thiago. What a player he is. Jota, what a player he is. Michael Edwards has, last 3 years, has put on a masterclass in terms of being a sporting director.
Very good point, very good point. Arsenal, from a Mikel Arteta point of view, what will he have thought about his team's performance last night?
I think they're getting stronger in terms of dealing with these games. You know, I think being away from home, I think before they were they didn't have enough, did they, Arsenal? You know, at least they went down and they went down swinging. I think they're playing in Mikel's way. And they look better for it. Look, I think they played good, but Liverpool are just better, I think. But Arsenal are in a really good place.
Ultimately, when you look at this situation here, Ryan, where the ball's with Leno, and they're obviously going to play their way out, as we know, ultimately they've got these 3 guys up front that they want to try and get involved and get amongst the action as soon as they can. If we watch here, the goalkeeper goes to David Luiz. There's a ball there from Maitland-Niles, back to Tierney. There's a little bit of fortune there with that Aubameyang flick. He might have been looking for Maitland-Niles there, but it drops to Xhaka, and this is a great ball.
This ball kills any press. You know, we saw the Van Dijk one over the top. Watch this ball in between the lines to Lacazette. You know, Van Dijk could probably be a bit touch higher, but that puts you under pressure. And now we see teams, when it goes in there, that they play one touch, so you don't turn over possession.
Yeah.
And then you get it into there, and then Liverpool end up chasing. But great.
And they don't have pressure on the ball. Good players in this Premier League can pick them off.
Yeah, and Bayern Munich won the Champions League playing that high line, didn't they? You know, they know they're going to turn over a lot of possession with that high line. The one thing I would say is, if you get the forward passing and the forward running spot on, it beats any defence. And you saw it there from Ceballos and Lacazette. They got the timing perfect and should have scored. And he's right, it would have changed the game.
Yeah. Look, a massive game last night between 2 of the biggest Premier League teams, 2 of the biggest teams in world football right now, Liverpool and Arsenal. Leroy, let's find out what the fans have been saying around the world.
Well, they've been saying lots. So there's one that caught my eye, Andy, and it's from Hannah. And it's something that I was thinking during the game last night. She says, why does Arteta not play Albert centrally? In Albert, she means Aubameyang. And a great stat I heard this morning, that in the 5 games that Aubameyang's played against Liverpool in the Premier League, he's not had one on target, not goal, not one shot on target. And the reason why I agree with Hannah that maybe that he should play in this central position is because not only from an attacking point of view, because it takes all the defensive responsibility away from him, but also defensively. You know, you look at down this right-hand side, this is where, Trent Alexander had all that space, and he was involved in 2 of the goals. I just wonder what you guys think. Just in certain games, could Aubameyang play up that central position?
You think so, Owen?
Yeah, I think Leroy's right. I think you'd like to see Aubameyang there. I'm not sure. Look, they didn't have much possession, Arsenal. I just thought they were a bit light in the centre of the park. You know, El Neni Xhaka. You know, I don't think that works against
better teams
against Liverpool. I just
Right.
think, and that's probably why they're trying to address the centre of the park, whether it's Partey or I think they need somebody in there. But maybe I'm with Leroy. Maybe drop Lacazette.
Yeah.
Play Aubameyang at the top, and he dropped in Saka there. Saka can play as an attacker, can play as a wing back.
Yeah.
Then maybe get another body in the middle of the pitch.
I was watching Leroy last night, and I thought that when I saw that chance that Lacazette failed to take the 1-0, and I've just been analysing there, and Aubameyang, to me, is still that striker. He doesn't have to be involved in the game here, there and everywhere, but he's got that kind of ice in his blood running through his veins where if he just gets one chance, I'd have backed him to score there.
Exactly, and he's the one player. Look, everybody was so delighted when he signed that new contract. He's the game changer, and you say to him, look, don't worry about running back into these areas. You know, you just pick up those spaces. And we always knew that there was going to be a space in behind Alexander-Arnold, but he could take up those spaces from a central area, almost cheap. But he's playing centre forward, so you don't want him running back. And I just thought that would cause Liverpool so many problems. In all honesty, I thought the Arsenal performance was so much better, guys, and maybe now just a few tweaks and they could be getting closer to Liverpool. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, look, certainly, I think everybody gets the impression with Arsenal they are going in the right direction. There has been improvement, there's been change and improvement under Mikel Arteta. Well then, Owen, let's check out. We know that it is very early days, but we always like to see a table. And for those teams that aren't used to sitting on the top, although Leicester have had spells there, of course they have. It's good to see. What I like about what I'm seeing in the top six. I'm loving that, Owen. My old team Villa there doing ever so well with a couple of wins. But seeing Palace there, as you mentioned, Leeds, even Newcastle up there in the top 10. That's good for everybody concerned.
Well, I think the point is they got to get the points on the board now because we know Leicester, they'll probably drop off like they did last season. Everton especially. Villa, I think a lot of teams had them down as one to potentially go down. You know, obviously West Brom and Fulham, they're the favourites. People were saying Villa, could that be one of those? So I think if you can get some points on the board now, you know, I think it steads them in good chance. Palace, you know, the issues they had towards the end of last season, I think they'll be delighted. They've had a great start.
They have. Last year, they had a horrible start, didn't they? Let's have a little look at the bottom end then. Of course, not such great reading for one or two of those down there, particularly Fulham and Sheffield United and Burnley, yet to get a point on the board, Owen. Any other major concerns in the bottom half of the table?
I think United and City, I think they've been a bit of a surprise that they've struggled. I mean, United probably should have lost the game against Brighton. They were so well played. I think for Fulham and Scott Parker, you mean, looking at them, they've been so weak virtually in every game, and they got defensive issues. They don't score goals. So only 3 games in, I know, but it looks like it might be a very long season for Scott Parker.